Okay, there is Jeremy. Where are the others? I'm waiting. Stephanie, Nosinkle, Simangele, Mugodi, Kocho, Rulani, where are you? There is Michelle. There is Kocho. Who else is in the house? I want to see you all. Nosinkle, where are you? There you are, Stephanie. Yes, who else? Please put on your cameras, everybody. I want to see faces. I don't want to talk to an empty screen. Where are you guys? I'm waiting. Simangele, where are you? Rulani. Hey, even the one that came on disappeared again. Ah, there you are, Rulani. Okay, Kotso, stay on, don't go away. Even though you're in bed, it's fine. Yeah, Simangele, you don't have to put on makeup. It's not necessary. We love your hair as is. Don't worry about that. Yeah, even if you are drooling and there are things coming from your lips, it's still okay. We're a family now. Don't worry about that. I just want to see some faces. Simangele, I don't see any face. I only see an icon of a, well, camera or whatever. Nosikle, where are you? Ugodi Mpo, where are you? Mpo, I can't see you. Oh, there you are, Nosikle. Stay that way. Don't go away. Mpo, we are waiting. I think you're the only one now. Mpo. Paul, where are you? Where are you? Is Paul coming on? Yes, Paul, there you are. Wonderful. So now Simangeli has disappeared again. Hey, people. Hey. Okay, good morning to you all. Welcome. This is Clinical Engineering Technology Management. I hope you know that already. My name is Tim Anton Okai. I'm the cluster group leader for clinical engineering, and I will be your lecturer for this subject. And for the next 5-6 months, you're stuck with me. You're not going anywhere. Okay, we did ask you guys to start introducing yourselves on Google Doc, but not all of you have done so. And some have. Some I just gave access this morning who requested. Only one photo there so far, so I don't know what you guys look like, except for Michelle, who was previously my student, right? Is it the same Michelle? Oku? Yes, no?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I
Yes, it
thought
is.
it's a different person. Okay, so I'm right. Okay, but the rest of you are new to me. You came from other fields, so I need to get to know you. So let's do the introduction. Nothing clear, we are waiting, you disappeared again. So let's start with Michelle. Let's start from the known to the unknown. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you've been up to since your national diploma. Now you're back for BTech and you're here for CTM. Yeah, where do you see yourselves in the next 5 years? What do you have for breakfast? What's your shoe size? What's your favorite hairstyle? What's your makeup brand? Whatever you want us to know, feel free. How many kids you have? Are you married, divorced, engaged, on the way, still searching? Whatever you want us to know about you. Yeah, so just feel free. Yeah, the stage is yours. Here's your 2 minutes of fame. Michelle.
Morning, everyone. Morning, say. It's nice to see you again after a while. So my name is Gaugelo Michelle Poku. I'm originally from the East Rand, but I'm currently in Kempton Park. I'm a mother of one. I'm a wife. Since my national diploma, I've been working in a company called African Union Communications in Pretoria. However, I moved there. I'm now with MultiChoice, but I found interest in this course because in the near future, I see myself. I've always loved being part of clinical. Hence, I know Mr. Okai, clinical courses. So in the near future, I see myself in working in a clinical field. Thank you, guys.
African Union Communication and then multi-choice, but you read clinical. Tell me
Yes.
about this transition.
As I mentioned, say that I always liked clinical courses. So now that I've done my diploma, hence I'm saying my goal is to see myself in the clinical field in the near future.
Yeah. So
Yes.
what do you do in multi-choice?
In multi-choice, I'm basically a support engineer.
Okay, because I
So
was there in Oak Avenue when last week. I
yes.
went to take my decoder for them to fix. Why didn't I see you? Oh, well, I didn't know you
No,
were
I
there.
don't work. I don't work in that department. So
Okay.
my department is basically for example, if we overview what the customers see before. Like for example, we have to make sure that their services are always on track.
Okay.
There's no errors. You can view as you wish. So what we do, there's a department which monitors, and then if there's an issue, they inform us. If it's something that we can fix, then we fix. If it's something that we can not fix, then we escalate to the other departments.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Stephanie, it's your turn. Okay, Stephanie is busy. Are you busy? Well, okay. Are you ready, Stephanie?
Yes, sorry, I had a small issue.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Stephanie. I'm originally from Cameroon. I've
Give
been
us your
in
full
South Africa.
names, Stephanie.
Sorry?
Give us your full names.
Oh, oh wow. Okay. My full name, Stephanie Quinchwa Yomi.
Okay.
I'm originally from Cameroon. I've been in South Africa since 2004. Completed my national diploma in 2009. And then I joined TUT in 2011, and I've been on and off school because of work. So I started out as an electronics technician. I worked as an electronic technician for 7 years, and then I moved into the sales environment since 2014, and I've been in sales coordinating since then. Right now, I'm trying to complete my BTech. I'm left with 2 subjects, which is this one and the industrial project. So I'm really hoping I will make it this semester. And then I can complete my BTech finally because it's been long. So
By
yeah,
God's
nice
grace,
to
you will
meet
make
you
it.
all. Sorry?
You will all make it by God's grace.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Nice to meet you
Okay.
all.
Thank you. So let's finish with the ladies and then we'll come to the gentlemen. So let's quickly go to Simangele before she disappears again. Don't worry. It's just an introduction. It's not an exam. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Simangele Kubisa. I am based in KZN. Finished my diploma before you guys were born. Way back in 2003, and started working for MultiChoice. I used to do the monitoring for Michelle. I think I did that for 5 years in the command center at MultiChoice. And then I moved to SuperSport. I worked as a satellite coordinator in their channel contribution. And then I moved to Transnet. Okay, I worked at SuperSport for 5 years, which gave me 10 years with MultiChoice Group. Then I moved to Transnet and I worked there for 7 years as a technical manager in the telecommunications department. And then in 2020, I decided to become a housewife. However, I hadn't completed my BTech. So I decided I don't want to leave it hanging because I started it when I was still in MultiChoice and then I left it like that. Then when I heard that it was going to be phased out, I thought, no, man, let me just finish this. So this is my second last module. I'm hoping to complete it so that I don't leave things hanging like that. So if anyone is employing, I think I'm willing to go back to the market If anyone has open vacancies, give me a shout. Other than that, I'm a mother of two. I'm still based in KZN, and I'm not married, I'm separated. I was married, I'm separated. So yeah, that's me. I'm still employable, even though I'm 40, but I'm still employable. Thank you, guys. I'm pleased to meet you all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the introduction. You know, it's nice to have online lectures. Now you can be in KZN, cozy in your room on your bed and still have lectures and still finish your BTech. Isn't that wonderful?
Yay!
Yes, well done. Thank you for coming back to finish this BTech. And by God's grace, you are going to finish it. So go to Google Drive, introduce yourself, and tell colleagues where you know what kind of job you're looking for. You don't never know. Maybe somebody will hear about something and post it to you or whatever. Yeah. But thank you. So, Nosinkle.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
My name is Nosihle. I am currently based at Emalahleni. Originally from KZN, Richards Bay. I studied my diploma in DUT. I'm currently with TUT, left with one subject for BTech to complete my BTech. Work-wise, I work in a construction space. I'm currently building a power station. It's called Kusile Power Station. So I work for Eskom as a construction senior supervisor. And previously I've worked as a CNI technician on other power stations. I'm in the process of getting married. I'm not there yet. So that's all.
Okay, wonderful. Nosinkle. Congratulations. Where are the other ladies? Hey, the faces have disappeared. Rulani, there you are. I know you're having breakfast. It's okay. Just introduce yourself and then go back to your breakfast. No problem. We understand.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rulani Mashaba, and I am from Venda, born and bred. I moved to Pretoria after my matric and did my national diploma and majored in telecommunications at TUT. And then I graduated in 2019 in April. And then my graduation came after doing my will program with Eskom in Lephalale. And then after that, I worked for Ericsson. I started in July, I think, of 2019. And then in 2020, my contract ended. And then in 2021, I worked for the NRF under SASTA. So SASTA is a national coordinator for science education. I was based there for a year. And then after that, I joined the family company. And then things didn't work out. I wasn't happy. And then now I'm working for a mining and consulting company. I'm also based in Witbank, Emalahleni. Yeah, currently left with 2 modules to finish my BTech, that is CTM and my industrial project. I am a mother of 1. Getting married, we shall see. But I would love to get married in the near future. Yeah, I think that is, I love the Lord. So I think, yeah, that is basically all about me.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Rulani. So where are the other ladies in the house? I don't see anyone else. Okay, Kekana. Yes, there you are, Rodney. So,
Good morning, everyone. I'm not a lady, I'm a guy.
Yes, no one called you a lady. You are Kekana, Rodney.
All right. My name is Rodney Kekana. I work for Sasol. So I'm based in Secunda. So ideally, I need to complete my BTech, and then I'm left with 3 subjects: signal processing, including industrial. Then I selected this one as the most possible immediate choice.
Yeah.
So hopefully I will pass it. And then previously I used to work for Honeywell. I'm in control and engineering environment as a senior technician currently at Sasol. Then I used to work for Honeywell as a systems engineer for 9.5 years before I joined Sasol. I'm 4 years with Sasol now. And my family is in Joburg, so I'm forever traveling from Joburg, Secunda Joburg, so Secunda Joburg. Then now it seems like, thank God, this online, it's not making, online course will limit my travel to Pretoria. Will save costs. I'm grateful to meet you all. I hope we're gonna have a great semester on these subjects. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rodney Kekana. Kotso, Masiza. Yeah.
Good day, everybody. Should I wait for you to complete the call, sir?
You can go ahead.
Good day, everybody. My name is Khotso Masiza. I am originally from the Free State in Fixbeck, just on the border of South Africa and Lesotho. That's where you find cherries. If you want to eat those cherries, go to Fixbeck around November. We have a cherry festival. In Fixbeck, I currently work for Telkom as a radio network planning and optimization engineer. That I was at MTN, also in the planning and optimization space, but as a drive test analyst. Currently with TUT, actually I studied in the Free State. I'm from the Central University of Technology. That's where I completed my diploma. So now I'm with TUT completing my BTech. I'm left with 3 subjects. It's clinical and tour, including the industrial project. Why I wanted to do this subject, I think I joined a wrong class during the week, so you remember. My reasons are still the same. I see myself in the future actually moving from telecom space into clinical. But that we shall see, because like I said before, that space is not saturated, you see.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot to do in that space. So yeah, that's why actually I had an interest in the subject. And because BTech was phasing out, we all rushed back to TUT.
Yeah.
So I live in Midrand. Yeah, that's all.
Okay,
I'm
that's
married.
great.
I'm married. I'm a father of 2 boys.
Okay, wonderful. There are actually a lot of, well, let me not say a lot, but there are a few who already have BTech moving from telecoms and process to clinical. And some already have national diploma in power, but they are moving to clinical. Because like you say, the clinical space is, unlike other fields, is not saturated. There are lots and lots of opportunities. And some even finish, they can't find work. They come back, do clinical subjects, and immediately they get employed. But I'm not saying you should change your switch or whatever. Yes, Mangele?
Okay, so I just wanted to find out, just to get your advice. I also majored in telecoms. Would you advise somebody who wants to switch to clinical to do the technical clinical subject, or is it fine just to do the management part of it? I mean, considering myself, I think I'm no longer more technical now. I'm more managerial. Is it advisable that one should consider doing the technical subject, or management itself would be sufficient?
The management would not be sufficient, because before you are even employed in the management space within clinical, they want to know your background in clinical. and they go back to what you've done for national diploma, because most of the people in managerial positions in clinical rose through the ranks. So they all have at least a national diploma in clinical and then the BTech. And then from there, they now got up to managerial positions. Some of them, even with their national diploma alone, are managers in the hospitals where they are managing departments because of their background and experience. So CTM alone may not give you what you want, but it's good to have the technical background, because that will make you more solid and more widely acceptable in the field. So that would be my advice. Although we know of people who come from backgrounds in electronics or telecom, and they later branch into the clinical space, but those ones have been working in that field for a long time, in the clinical field. They didn't start with the diploma in clinical engineering, but they've been working in the hospital. So they already have experience with medical devices and everything they need to know before now, doing a course in the managerial field and then get the position. But someone who has not traditionally been in this field, who comes from another field, may not be easily accepted in that managerial position without some experience in the field. So that would be my advice. I would advise you have some technical expertise in this field, because that will make you more marketable if you want to go find a clinical engineering field. That is not to say that there are no opportunities. There are. But if you want things to go quick for you, that's the way to go.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Monsieur Jeremy. Jeremy, are you still with us? Okay, Jeremy, yeah, there you are. Okay, yeah.
Am I the last one?
No, you're not the last one.
Okay, I'm trying to fix something and I'll come back to you guys.
Okay, fine.
All right, thank you.
Paul Ugodi.
Hello, everyone. Okay, myself, I'm Paul Mugodi. I'm originally from Venda. And then we studies, went to DUT. I think no, we were schoolmates in DUT. And then completed my national diploma at DUT. Then from there, I joined a company called Anderson Hauser, which is an instrumentation supplier, pressure, temperature, flow meters, all those things for process instruments. And then I started my BTech in 2015. And then because of the demand of traveling, I was always out of the country. Studying, it was not easy by then. That's why it's still pending. So at the moment, I moved from Anderson Hauser from a field service technician. Now I'm a service manager on a competitor company, which is Kroon, which is supplies the same process instruments. For me, choosing clinical, I think I did register for DSP, but unfortunately on DSP, I'm the only person who I am registered. So the lecture today advised me that I must look for something else. Then that's when I start to search for what else can I do. Then I said, okay, let me go for clinical, because clinical, I believe, is very close to process, because things like temperature, pressure, things like that. Like I used to have a colleague, I used to have like a trainee that I was mentoring. We started at Anderson Hauser, then he moved to SMBS, where they travel around calibrating temperature for the cold rooms where they store the blood and all those things. So I believe, I don't know, but I will see. I don't know what I got myself into. So at the moment, I just want to finish this subject. Then I'm left with, again, I'm busy. I'm registered for also industrial project. Then I will be done. I hope it's going to be a good semester.
Okay, thank you for your introduction. Let's see who else is here. I think it's just Jeremy left. Almost everyone else. Yeah, so I think Jeremy, you're the last one now.
Okay, I'm Jeremy Gibango Kantin. I'm from DRC. I did electronics and telecommunication, but then I worked for some telecommunication company, but the thing is the contract end and they don't renew it. And I opt to do clinical field. I worked at, how do you call this, George Mukari. That's where I did my training. And then after my training, it's not even done. I got a job at Netcare, Collins Field. So I'm a CTE that side. I met a lot of my students there. Okay, I was lecturing, not lecturing, I was tutoring maths. And I have a lot of students who were my students back then. They're now CTEs, and some are becoming even, how do you call it, CTM. So yeah. And I know, sir, do you know Nokwetemba? I think she was one of your students.
Nokwetemba Tembe.
Yes,
I
yes,
know
yes.
Nokwetemba. She was my student.
Yeah. She's one of the people that helped me for the interview. And then I nailed it and I got a job. So I just started this month. So yeah.
Wonderful. So you see how easy it is to get a job in the clinical field.
So much.
No struggle. So
Some
guys, come over, and if you're struggling where you are, come to clinical. Bring your whole family. There's space for everyone.
But
okay.
They want you to have clinical subject. I was talking with the sister Shiva Daniel. She's the head of Netcare.
Sija Daniel. Yes.
So always she was asking me, do you have any clinical subject? Now, when I registered my BTech, because I left with 2 modules, I registered Opto and Industrial Project. And then I forgot, no, clinical. Let me just take this one subject so that if they ask me to do any clinical subject, yes, there it is.
Yes, this one will be good, but it will also be nice if you can do some of those diploma clinical subjects, like you have clinical engineering 1, clinical engineering 2. Yeah. If you can have those 2, you're sorted.
But I've been working in a hospital already, I mean, previously. So
yes, that's true. You have experience, but there are places you'll go to, they want to see your academic record.
Yeah.
And if they look at the academic record, they want to see what clinical subjects you have done.
Biomedical.
And if you have not done Biosystems 1, Medical Equipment 2, Medical Systems 3, Medical Equipment 3 in the old diploma, and now in the new diploma, Clinical Engineering 1 or Clinical Engineering 2, then you'll have a lot of explaining and convincing to do.
Yes.
But if you've done 1 or 2 of those subjects, then it's easier to convince them that, yes, you've done this and you have experience. Then you have a better standing. Yeah. Okay, so welcome to you all. I already introduced myself. And so we're going to be together for the next few months. And for this subject, of course, Saturdays only, and lectures are all going to be by online on MS Teams. So Simangele doesn't have to travel from KZN to come to Pretoria. It's all going to be online. And the other thing I want to do, instead of us meeting all the time like this, I want to suggest if it can be mostly self-study, I give you access to all the material and the PowerPoint you study. So when we come like this, we just review, I take questions, we have discussions, but you will study most of the material. I have some of the videos from previous recordings. I will have them uploaded on my tutor. Those that are uploaded already, I activate them so you can have access to them. Of course, not all previous lectures were recorded, just the first few chapters. Okay, and then you can go over that on your own I'm always available on WhatsApp. So always, if you have any question or comment, you can post in the group, and I will respond. Even if it's late at night, if I can't respond, I can respond the following day. So don't feel restricted in terms of how to reach me. I'm always available on WhatsApp or by email, but the quickest way is WhatsApp. You can send a voice note, you can send a WhatsApp message, or you can send an email. So I'm always available. So for this subject, it's going to be continuous assessment, no exam. So we're going to have about three written assessments. Three written assessments. There's no practical for this subject. So it's a written assessment. Then we shall have, I think, about 2 assignments. No practical, no project. We'll have 3 written assessments, 2 assignments. So 5 in all. And those are what will form your final marks for this subject. The subject is quite easy to pass. It's not a difficult subject. So those of you who switched, you made a good choice. If you can work with me, everyone will pass. But there's someone who hasn't introduced him or herself. Pele, are you there? See, Pele, please come on, put on your video, introduce yourself. Let's know who you are. CC.
Morning, I'm having a network problem, so I'm not sure if
Okay.
the video will connect.
Okay.
I keep coming in and out.
Okay, show your face quickly before the video goes off. Let's just see how beautiful you are before the network cuts off. Rulani is laughing. Okay, yeah, please show your face, introduce yourself quickly, and let's just see who you are. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Morning.
So, morning.
Yes, I'm just having a network connection, so I've been trying to log in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just quickly introduce yourself. Tell us your full names, where you're from, what you had for breakfast, what's your shoe size, your favorite hairstyle. Are you married, single, divorced, still searching? How many kids? What kind of car you drive? What's the size of your bank account, etc., etc.
Okay, I'm Carol Cele. Um, I'm I'm a student, and I don't know what else I need to say.
Yes, we know
Okay.
you are Carol. We
I
know
live
you're a
in
student.
Johannesburg, but I'm originally from Durban, so I'm currently back in KZN, and that's why I'm having this network issue.
Okay. Okay, fine. Why clinical engineering?
Sorry.
Why did you choose this subject?
Okay, I chose the subject because I'm actually in the healthcare field, so I feel that it will be very beneficial even at work because I'm actually in the healthcare field.
And where do you work in the healthcare field? What do you
At
do?
Siemens Healthing is.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So is it Siemens, then KZN, or here in Gauteng?
Sorry?
Are you based, is there a branch of Siemens in KZN, or are you based here in Gauteng?
I'm based in Gauteng. I'm just
Okay.
here in KZN for the weekend.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yes.
great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I hope there's no one else we are missing. Okay, fine. So like I'm saying, for this subject, we'll have 3 assessments, written assessments. And for those assessments, we will have to write on campus. We can't do it by distant learning, eh? So we'll come on a Saturday or, yeah, Saturday. Okay, they'll be written on campus, but we'll let you know ahead of time so you prepare if you need to travel. And yeah, then there'll be 2 assignments. And those assignments, when you present on MS Teams, you write there'll be the documentation, there'll be the presentation. You present on MS Teams, you send in the documentation, yeah, and then we assess and give you a mark. So that's how this subject is going to be. It's very easy to pass this subject. Pass rate is usually very high. I think we do the subject once a year, second semester. Second semester of last year when we did it, it was 100% pass rate. Everybody passed. As long as you work with me, cooperate with me, everybody should pass this subject. There's no reason to fail. Okay. And like I'm saying, we will send you the material. You start studying. There are some videos of past lectures. We'll make them available on Brightspace. And then if there are any questions, when we meet, we discuss, take your questions, address your concerns, and anything else you would want us to discuss, so that we don't spend our time like this going through PowerPoints and lectures and all of that. So if you can study before we meet, it will help us to move faster, and it will help us to be more focused when it comes to the questions. Okay, I need to mute. Yeah, there we go. So it will help us to be more focused when it comes to questions and areas that you would want us to address with regards to the lecture material. So I think that's the way we are going to go for this subject. So let's hear your thoughts. Let's hear your thoughts about that suggested way of learning. And I want us to learn both when we meet like this and outside of class. For instance, I created a Google Doc where you will introduce yourselves. Some of you have started already, some have not. It would be nice if you can do that. And there might be some activities along the way where I will need you to provide answers to those activities, maybe in a Google Doc or Padlet or some other external platform that we also use for learning and interaction. Okay, so let's hear your thoughts about the suggested method of learning for this subject. Let's hear your thoughts. Do you think it's a good idea? Provide the study material, make the videos available, you study so that when we meet, we don't waste too much time, 4 or 5 hours. We just go straight to the point, have discussions, take your questions, and then I'll give you adequate scope for the assessments. Okay, Nothing Clear agrees. Let's hear your thoughts. What do you think, Stephanie? Yes, Rolani agrees.
I do agree about with this.
Okay.
I think it's better we have one session a month whereby
Okay.
we can discuss about everything.
Okay.
But the time we're gonna study, do self-study, and then we can contact you since you say you're available on WhatsApp. So if you don't understand something, we can directly contact you.
Yes.
I believe that all of us we can do self-study here. It's
Yes.
more like a management course, right? So we're just gonna ask you question where we don't understand. And also very important is the scope. You must give us a very precise scope. We don't want to read the whole book because it's a lot. It's a lot. So if you can give us a precise scope and then you insist on some point, we're gonna pass it.
Michelle has been my student in the past. She can tell you what my scopes are like. They're usually spot on, 100%.
That's good.
When I give you scope, as long as you don't go to the left or to the right, you will pass.
Yeah, okay.
My scopes are detailed and accurate.
That's good.
So don't worry about that. Okay. So I'll make the materials available, the PowerPoints. I'll share them on WhatsApp. And then you will have them also in Brightspace. So both ways. Those who are not yet on Brightspace, it will be available on WhatsApp. So after today's session, I can already start sharing the material on WhatsApp. Okay. Are there any other comments regarding this way of learning? before I share the first lecture we have for today.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
I'm not sure whether you've already shared the weighting on these assessments. How much will they weigh? And yeah.
Okay, I haven't talked about the weighting, but I'm going to prepare the weighting and share it with you guys on WhatsApp. And I'll
Okay.
put that up also. I'll put it up also in Brightspace.
Okay, when it comes to the assessments, so
Yes.
is it not possible to reduce from 3 maybe to 2 on campus? And then maybe 1 online?
Yeah, the thing is, because there's no more COVID and there's no more, like, for all diploma subjects now, they're back fully on campus, and they expect all practicals and assessments to be on campus, paper-based, face-to-face. I don't know if the department would approve an online assessment for now. During lockdown, during COVID, during those restrictions, yes, it's permissible to give assessments online. But now you must have a strong motivation and strong justification to do an online assessment under the current circumstances. So that's the challenge. I do understand for some of you who stay far away, it's an extra cost to travel to come do the assessment. But we also want to comply to the guidelines of TUT when it comes to assessments so that we don't have issues when we submit the final marks, because they are going to be moderated. And we also submit the scripts for not only moderation, but in the subject file as well for EXA to check. And if we deviate without a strong motivation, then we'll have a lot of explaining to do, and that could jeopardize the final results. So that's the dilemma. Otherwise, I'm always flexible to see how I can help, but we have to do it in such a way that it does not put us in trouble at the end of the day. But we'll still leave that open, and I will explore all possibilities. Yes, Stephanie.
I just wanted to check. So the day we meet for the assessment, is it just going to be the assessment or for the full class? Or are we going to have a full class after?
It will all depend on what we agree before. Our classes will be online. So there will be no reason for us to meet on campus for class. We only come to TUT where we meet face-to-face just to write the assessment. Everything else will be online.
Okay.
Including when you present your assignment.
Okay.
So you just come, write, and then you go.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. If you find that it's easier in the evening, maybe Friday evening or Thursday evening or whatever evening to write the assessment instead of a Saturday, we can look into that as well. The important thing is that the assessment be written face-to-face in TUT. Great. If there are no other concerns, let me try to share slide so that we can have the first presentation. Okay, by the way, for those of you who still haven't introduced yourselves on Google Drive, I will just show you what we have for those who have. I think only Jeremy has shared a photo. The rest of you have given brief introductions. Somebody, greetings from the Valley of KZN. Is that all you want us to know about you? That you're from the Valley of KZN? I'm sure there's more. Okay, there, Stephanie has a photo. Wonderful. Now we know what she looks like. Okay. Yeah, so someone is from Midrand, born and raised in the Free State, that's Kotso. Rodney, all the way from the province of Ubuntu. Oh, okay. Limpopo province. I see. Okay, so I look forward to the rest of the introductions. Okay, now let me share slide this side and go to the lesson for today. Okay, so here we go. Let me just check and make sure the audio. Yes, CC, talk to me.
Yes, sir. Can you please record the session?
The session is being recorded.
Oh, okay, thank you.
With patient safety. Those of you who are already in the field, you know what patient safety is and how important patient safety is. So this topic covers the different aspects of patient safety, obviously, whether in terms of the use of the device, keeping the patient safe, the user of the equipment safe, the clinical staff safe, and reducing adverse events, understanding errors, understanding adverse events, adverse incidents, and the difference between them, and making the hospital environment generally safe for patients, for staff, for visitors, and everyone that is involved within the healthcare delivery setting or in the hospital environment. Okay, so first to look at the definition, and I don't want to start reading the slides and all of that, so I'm just summarizing. Okay. And quality healthcare covers all of these aspects. It has to be safe, effective, patient-centered, timely, efficient, and also equitable. So these definitions here are important to help us understand what patient safety is. You talk about safety in the healthcare, what it means, patient safety itself, which is freedom from accidental injury while receiving healthcare services. Okay. Then you have different definitions: avoidance, prevention of adverse outcomes or injuries stemming from the process of healthcare. It is elimination, prevention, minimization of error, and also, let's just see, where do I put this control now so it can be out of the way? Okay. Okay, it's also prevention of harm resulting from healthcare rendered to the patient. Okay, so let's move this thing again. Okay, now here's another part that is important. We need to understand error, we need to understand adverse incident and adverse event. So error is a failure of a planned action to be completed as intended. So if you intend something to work in a particular way, but it fails along the way, either failure of execution or use of a wrong plan to achieve an aim, which is the error of planning, then your adverse event is any event or circumstance arising during care that could have or did lead to unintended or unexpected harm, loss, or damage. So adverse event is something you cannot avoid. It's something that happened accidentally. You've done everything you needed to do, but something still goes wrong. That's an adverse incident. We're talking of adverse incident now. But adverse event is where people have made mistakes, and that mistake has caused an injury to a patient. So an adverse event is an injury caused by medical management. The way a patient case was managed, either the doctor was not skilled enough, not competent enough, he came to work drunk, he fought with his wife, and so he entered the theater with temper tantrum, and as a result, he was not focused or concentrating, and he harmed the patient. Okay? And it's not because the patient has an underlying condition. Everything was supposed to go right, but something still happened. That's an adverse event. Harm is where you have a death of a patient, temporary or permanent impairment of body function or structure. Then you also have a near miss. A near miss here is, okay, it's like, how do I describe it? Okay, let's look at the definition from here. I'm trying to move this thing out of the way. Can I even remove it altogether? Hold on, let me see if I can just remove that stuff altogether. Okay, hide floating meeting controls. Okay, so your near miss is an event or situation that could have resulted in an accident, injury, or illness, but did not, either by chance or because of timely intervention or vigilance of the staff or the skill of the personnel involved. So they managed to arrest the situation before it deteriorated and resulted in an adverse event or an adverse incident. So that's a near miss. It almost happened, but there was timely intervention, and what could have resulted in death or injury was averted. There are different things around patient safety and health technology. You have equipment users, the healthcare providers, constructors, manufacturers, and the vendors of the equipment itself. The public and the patients, they have a role to play. The maintenance providers, including your technicians, and the government itself in terms of putting in place relevant laws and legislations. So all of those contribute to patient safety. Okay, medical errors and patient safety. So when you have a failure to perform a desired act or right action, that could lead to a medical error. An error will always occur when a user of the equipment does not use the equipment correctly, or there's a failure in that equipment that manifests during use. So the goal is to reduce the negative outcomes, right? And there are three aspects that need to be considered when looking at patient safety: analysis, planning, effort. So patient safety takes careful consideration of analysis, planning, and effort. So if you want your patients to be safe, you want the staff to be safe, of course, we are patient-centered now. We are more concerned now about the patient of the, the safety of the patient, because most times it is the patient that suffer the most, even before the staff. Yes, staff members do suffer, especially in this Corona era. A lot of them contract the disease, they fall ill, and some even lose their lives, unfortunately. But here we are focusing more on the patient particularly. That's why we're talking about patient safety, because they come to the hospital to get well, not to die, not to be injured, not to be maimed or disabled in any way. So there are many things around patient safety that are very important. Any healthcare intervention and thus a patient as its center is at the point of a complex interaction of a tremendous variety of processes. So you have medical device, you have different kind of medical intervention, you have human resources, you have different kind of drugs, you have facilities, all of them coming together to play a role. Okay, and anything can go wrong with any of them. Patient could be given the wrong medication, overdose, underdose, equipment can fail, and there can be, healthcare practitioners, either nurses or doctors, who are not careful enough with patients, and all of those can put the patient at risk. There are also hazards associated with the use of medical devices that are connected to patients. Some of them are electrical in nature, some are mechanical, some are environmental. There are also biological hazards like infection and issues around sterilization. And then you also have radiation hazards, as well as many other types of hazards that we identified when we did medical equipment 3 at the diploma level. So all of this play a role when it comes to patient safety. So when you look at adverse event versus error, error or definition bears upon concept of preventability and is therefore process focused. So while your error is process focused, your adverse event is outcome focused. So you want to prevent error by following certain strict guidelines or regulations to make sure everything checks out and everything is working correctly and processes are applied correctly. But adverse event now has to do with the outcome. It describes harm to the patient and it's thus outcome based. And there's a relationship between the two. So if you can effectively manage things that can lead to an error, you will then be able to reduce the possibility of an adverse event happening in the long run. So the two are kind of related. And in terms of the healthcare error framework, you look at this block diagram here. Patient comes to hospital to receive treatment. There could be an error made or there's no error. So let's start from the top. So if you have an error made, you could still have, well, sorry, if there are no error made, we're looking at the top now, that will lead to either a good health outcome or a bad health outcome, because there are things that obviously you cannot foresee, you cannot prevent due to underlying conditions of the patient. And some patients get the best treatment, but they still either die or something else that is unforeseen happens. And you wonder what happened, why did it happen? We did everything we're supposed to do. Not because there was any error in terms of the application of the equipment or medical devices or the procedure used to treat the patient, but there are some other underlying conditions that may not be foreseeable when the patient comes to hospital. Now, at the bottom, you could also have errors that are made when managing a particular patient. Those errors could be minor, they could be serious. If it's a minor, they can catch it on time and prevent it from escalating, thereby arresting the situation, or it may not be caught. And if you don't catch it, it can lead to injury, it can lead to death, it could lead to either a minor or a major incident. Now, if that error made is a serious error, again, it can be caught and arrested on time so that you have a near miss rather than a complete adverse event or adverse incident. In that case, it's a close call. But if it's not caught, it could also lead to a patient being injured or even a patient passing away, unfortunately. So how big is this problem? Obviously, in different countries, they keep statistics of issues around patient safety, around adverse events that have occurred. So they have a register and a record, just like now they're keeping record of corona deaths because this is a pandemic, right? So in some countries, they not only keep record of how many were admitted, how many were on ventilators, and how many died, from corona. They also keep record of adverse events and adverse incidents so they can compare from year to year and see the trend and be able to put in place measures to reduce such events from occurring in future. So in the USA, in UK, in Australia, New Zealand, Denmark, and the European Union, you can see all of the figures and you can see that it's quite a big problem. In acute hospitals, here is a chart that shows the adverse event rates in percentage in different cities and different countries. And it says here at the top, 11% of adverse events are due to bad manufacturing of medical devices. So if obviously there's a fault in the way the device was manufactured, you will keep having these repeat events no matter how careful you are. And if you have an equipment that certain functions keep failing at critical moments, then know that there's some kind of manufacturing defect that needs to be corrected, or you might have to replace all those equipments altogether and get a different kind or a different model or from a different manufacturer to be able to arrest such events from happening. So how big is the problem? Well, in terms of financial loss, hospitals lose money, countries lose money, healthcare system lose money, and it's a lot of money. You can see the amount in UK as well as in the US. And it says here 15% of that is avoidable. And in the UK, you could save about 1 billion every year for this problem if you can avoid it. So there are potential liabilities. Okay, so there's a cost that relates to hospital stay, litigation claims, and potential liabilities, and so on and so forth. So if one can plan carefully to reduce all of these adverse events that can lead to litigation, that can lead to death of patient, that can lead to permanent disability, a lot of money can be saved in the long run, and that money can be plowed back into the healthcare system to improve it and buy better equipment and pay staff better if things are managed correctly. In developing countries, obviously, there are no records. So if the problem is this big in the US, in the UK, in Europe, and other countries, Australia, New Zealand, in Africa, we have no records. I don't know in your hospital, are there records of adverse events and incidents that you know of? Okay, I know that not all of you work in hospitals because you are not all from the clinical field. But for Jeremy and Michelle, who work in, well, Michelle is now in DSTV, so maybe she doesn't have any record. But Jeremy, are there any records of adverse events or incidents or harm to patients that you are aware of in your hospital where you work?
Yes, sir, it should be, but I haven't gone through it yet.
Okay. Okay, fine. Anybody else aware of adverse incidents, harm to patients from the use of medical devices or procedures that you would like to talk about? Could be someone you know or have heard of.
Yes, sir. I'm Jabu. Yeah, I worked for Mediclinic for about 6 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so we've had incidents where a patient get harmed due to improper use of a medical equipment. It's not like it's a failure on the medical equipment, but it was just not used properly. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, and that's why sometimes, like with the diploma students, the very first lecture we have different hazards present in the hospital environment. One of them is people's acts of omission and commission. And this is where the healthcare staff that use those devices come in. Some of them are not well trained to use the devices. And some of them, when you have a new model or a new brand of the same equipment, they assume they know how to use it, but they use it incorrectly. And in the process, sometimes they do harm to patients. So these things do happen. Okay. Well, then let's proceed. That can be reported on from year to year. So you can see the trend, whether it's increasing or decreasing. Anybody with any information about what happens within your hospital? Okay, you've shared that already, so let me just...
So there are adverse incidents which happens, and then they are reported to the quality office.
Yeah.
They will be discussed during the meetings for the whole province.
And then what happens after that? Do we know what the global really picture is? Because
no,
here we are looking at countries now. What happens in this country? What happens in that country? Apart from what happens in local hospital. Because if you have incidents in a local hospital, but you don't know what's happening in other provinces, in other hospitals, so you can have a global, well, not a global, but a national picture of what is happening nationally. How can you then decide what the cause is? You know what is happening within your hospital, but do you know what is happening within the province, within the country, in government hospitals and private hospitals? So you can have a bigger picture, the big picture, and be able to make decisions based on the general trend. So that's what we're talking about. And if that is done, then you will find that maybe the problem is even much, much bigger in Africa than in the US and Europe and UK, where records are kept. Just like every year we keep records of accidents, especially during Christmas and New Year. So we compare this year and the following year, and we keep records of crime statistics that are reported. And that is announced for everyone to hear and know, and know what's happening nationally, not just within a city or within a province. So that gives us the big picture. With incidents in hospitals, do we have such records that give us a national overview of what is happening? I am not aware of any. Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah, and yet we have big problems in Africa. So if there's no proper reporting system that gives us the big picture, then it becomes difficult for us to plan and to know how to mitigate and how to reduce these incidents. Okay. But here are some of the statistics that we have.
Sorry, say
up to 40% of hospital beds. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I just wanted to add, with me, I think with my, it's a personal experience, not work related. I think they do keep record, because I once had an incident where I had an issue with, I had to go back to the hospital because I had some complications, and then I asked if I can be transferred to a private hospital because the public, that's where I had issues, and the doctor told me that I have to go back to the same hospital so that they can keep record of what happened, so that they know that this is what happened, and then it was a result of such incident that they happened. So I think they do keep track in most hospitals.
Okay, but do we get to know about the results of such records they keep, so we know what to do about it?
According to the information that I had, then it's only amongst themselves, not us. We can't get anything, but amongst themselves, they know which incident or how many times did that incident occur because of certain equipment or what.
Yeah.
So whatever the reason may be.
Okay. But I think it will be good also for such information to be in the public domain, so that if we want to know, for instance, how many incidents have happened with the use of ventilators, especially during this pandemic, we need to have a place where we go to access that information. So we know, okay, for ventilators, these are the incidents. Then what brand of ventilator is that? Is it all ventilator types, or is it a particular brand that is involved in all of these incidents? It would be good to have such information so that we know, okay, is it a problem with the brand? Is it a problem with the design of the equipment? Is it a problem with how it is used? Perhaps we need to give more training to staff who use that brand of equipment. So it's nice if such data can be available in the public domain and not just locked up somewhere and accessible only to few. And then we don't have a picture of what's going on. So records like that should be in public domain so that anyone who needs to use such information for research, for planning, will have access to them and make good use of them to help the general public. Okay.
Sorry, sir. Just to maybe come in, I think the reason why it's kept within, I mean, amongst ourselves as a hospital, there's a lot involved, especially with lawsuits and stuff like that. So if a patient gets harmed by a medical equipment, then now if that information can be public, there's a big risk of lawsuits and the hospital can be sued and maybe the doctor or anything like that. So that's why it is very difficult for that information to be public.
Yeah, I understand. That's why they keep such information. But is that the right thing to do? Because another patient will still be harmed if that incident is not investigated and preventive measures put in place. It will happen again. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I do agree, but such investigations are done internally to just try and avoid the incident not to occur again. So yeah,
Okay.
it's not fair. It's not fair, but but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if your neighbor was robbed because there's a criminal who is preying on innocent household in the street, and he keeps that information, doesn't share it with the neighbors to take preventive measures or to take precautions, the culprit will come back again and go to the next house and do the same thing. And if that person keeps the information and doesn't share it, the culprit will come back again and go to the next house. Whereas if you share that information the first time it happens, everyone takes precaution. And now they're looking out for that culprit. He won't have the chance to come back again. So if something happens with an equipment, either it's a failure of the equipment or it's an issue with the user of the equipment, you want to know, okay, this is the problem. We need to train these people better to use this equipment so that somebody else doesn't make the same mistake with the same equipment and harm a patient. But if it's kept under wraps because they're afraid of litigation, it will happen anyway. Because even some of these lawyers, they go to the hospitals distributing their cards and saying to patients, if you have any issue, please phone us and we will sue the hospital on your behalf. So yeah, but anyway, these are things that call for deep discussions, deep discussions. But Michelle says they keep record. Let's hope that the records they keep are accurate and that they are used for the purpose that is intended to reduce such incidents from happening again, and not just to hide such information to prevent issues around litigation or giving the health facility a bad image in the media. Let's hope they are doing the right thing with the information. But thanks for the discussions. Okay. Located in structures built for other purposes. And so you find them in places they are not supposed to be. So the main problems related to medical devices, user error is a big one. Faulty devices, badly designed devices, misuse, overuse, or underuse of technology. So using it incorrectly, overuse, or even underuse. Some equipment are still packed and kept somewhere. They've not yet been opened, not yet installed, and yet they are badly needed. There are also electrical safety issues, okay? And they vary, as you can see. We have 4 points. Is someone saying something?
Yes, I just missed something. I wanted to add something about the era on equipment.
Okay.
Usually, when you're in theaters, for Netgear, it's craft sister who have to do the full test, and then sometimes they forget to do it, and then it doesn't work properly, and then all that they blame on technician. Like everybody, will see people calling, "Hey, technician, technician!" They must come. Sometimes need calibration, and you can read. They can read that no, you did not calibrate. You need to calibrate this machine, but they don't do that.
Yeah.
But we
So
come on
that's
time, so that yeah, to solve it. But the problem becomes when there's a patient on the table there. We cannot do anything. Also, we cannot alter the machines if we have a patient there.
Yeah. So then that
And
becomes people's acts of omission and commission.
yeah. Sometimes doctors themselves, like yesterday, I had a case. A doctor called me at theater 12. He said, "No, my patient is fast and asleep, but hello, but the machine is telling her that no, the patient is awake. So what is the issue? I had to call the med hall guy. Jackson is one of my friends. He was like, okay, tell the doctor to place the sensor at the center of the head here. And then she just did that and it was fine. And then Jackson was like, why this doctor? He has been working for more years, but he doesn't know where to place this electrode.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes they are negligent as well.
And that's how patients get injured, because people who should know, doctors, nurses, a lot of them make errors and they are too proud to ask, to call the technician to ask, okay, how do I? They are too proud because they feel, oh, I'm above this person. Why should I go and ask him or her? And they make mistakes and patients suffer unnecessarily because of user errors and people's acts of omission and commission. May God help us and deliver us from such healthcare workers who like to shift blame. You know, yeah. Okay. Thanks, Jeremy.
Some equipments are still packed and kept somewhere. They've not yet been opened. Some equipments are still packed and kept somewhere. And they vary, as you can see. We have 4 points here. Some have to do with leakage current, and some have to do with capacitors, resistors, and some have to do with also inspection and preventive maintenance. Okay. We have this table which you can have a look at on your own. And then with specific types of devices, there are different incidents and events that occur. This is just an example with a defibrillator. And this particular adverse event was caused by insufficient paddle contact with subsequent arcing in the presence of oxygen-enriched environment. So that can cause serious burns to patients. And look at what happened at the bottom here. Okay, this is obviously charred, so there was some kind of fire possibly that caused this. Infusion pump free flow incidents. So let me ask you, Neil, what kind of incidents are you aware of that have been reported within your hospital? And if there's anyone else working in the hospital, what kind of incidents are you aware of that have been reported?
Okay, the one I know, the patient was in theater. They were doing a procedure on him and using the ECG machine and the diathermy machine. Then they connected the patient circuit, the patient plate, which expired like 6 months back or 8 months back. They didn't check the expiry date, and the person was burned very badly.
Wow.
So we had to see what really happened, and then we found out about that patient plate. So they just discussed it among themselves, and I didn't hear the final income what happened.
Yeah, that's the thing. They discuss among themselves. End of story. Okay, who else has an example of an adverse event? It could even be a near miss or an incident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've also had one, I think 2 years back, where a doctor was using a diatemy machine as well, but then he put it on auto bipolar. He was doing a laparoscopy case where they had to go into the patient's abdomen and remove some stuff. So on auto bipolar, whenever what you call, whenever the lead touches a flesh, it starts cutting. So now you're entering, you don't want to cut that part, but because it's on auto bipolar, you happen to cut it because now it just came into contact with the flesh.
Yeah.
So yeah, then he happened to cut some wrong organs because it was on auto instead of manual. Yeah.
Wow. The things that happen in our hospitals. Sometimes patients think they die of natural causes, but yeah, some terrible things have happened. And
yeah, and it came down to us as technical to say your machines, your machine was not working properly. Only to find when I got in there, I told him, but it's on auto. It will cut whenever it comes into contact with flesh. So
yes,
it's supposed to be on manual so that you activate for you to be able to cut where you want to cut. But obviously, yeah, the doctor is always right in this medical field.
Okay, thanks for sharing that example. Let's proceed.
The mode where I can't see anyone raising their hands, I can't see the chats box because I've removed that control. So you can just speak if you have something to say.
Good day, everyone.
Yes, Gaveni, go ahead.
Yeah, I've witnessed an adverse event in my hospital where a nurse didn't check the environment of a patient, so they didn't check if the suction was working properly and all that. So it happened that they had to suction a patient where the dressers failed because the suction was not working properly. They didn't do the environment checks before that. So while they were still looking for a portable suction, and then a patient succumbed. We lost the patient like that.
Okay. So the patient succumbed because the suction was not done timeously. Is that correct?
Yes.
I see. Okay. Any other example from anyone? Can just speak.
Can I ask, sir?
So those are.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Can I ask, do we still have a situation where hospitals have like one clinical technician supporting the whole hospital?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay. Then I think that's why we have issues, because I mean, if in their SOPs, at least they have a window for testing, especially in theater environments, where they can have a technician to make sure that the machines are properly set or calibrated, then I think we wouldn't have that problem. But if we still have only one person supporting a hospital, then it will remain an issue.
You can hear from all the examples given that the problem is really not with the technician. not even with the machine, but it's with the doctors and nurses. They are the ones who mostly are the culprits when it comes to these adverse incidents and events. So it's not the technicians. Most hospitals, what they do, they have an in-house technician, it could be one or two or more. But for some critical devices, especially those life-saving machines, they outsource the maintenance and repair, right? And the company to whom it is outsourced, they come to do preventive maintenance regularly to make sure those devices are in good working condition. And then for first line maintenance, the in-house technician can do all of that. But most of the incidents we are talking about here is not a problem with the machine. It's a problem with the user. And that's the doctors and the nurses not knowing how to use it correctly. And that's how they harm the patients. So technicians have their role to play, but they don't use the machines on the patient. It is the doctors and nurses that connect those machines to the patients. And they are the ones that mostly are the culprits when it comes to these adverse incidents and events. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, say. However, I feel that from the clinical technical side as well,
yes,
if the awareness are continuous, then we shouldn't have such a problem, because we know that in hospitals we have their staff is not, but how can I say it? They have new staff and they have doctors who move around. And I mean, if technical could enforce that they have awarenesses that are continuous to make sure that each and every personnel that uses the machines is refreshed on the use of the machines that they're supposed to use, then it's an intervention that technical can come up with, because at the end of the day they will be blamed, because I mean they're inferior than the doctors.
Yeah, I do agree with you. And in most hospitals, technicians do give these refreshers. And the only challenge is that the technicians do not always know when there's a new member of staff. So it behooves the matron or whoever is in charge of the nursing department to inform the technicians about new members of staff who would need to be refreshed or trained on the use of those devices. And if they don't do so, then it's negligence on their part, not on the part of the technician. Because yes, I'm available to give training to new members of staff on the use of this equipment, but no one has told me that, oh, we have new staff. I'm doing my work as a technician in the workshop. I come, I service the equipment. I don't go checking who is new, who is not new, who has been employed, who has been shifted. It's the duty of the nursing department or even among the doctors to say, okay, hey, we have new members of staff. Can you come and provide training on the use of these devices? So if that is not done, obviously then they still cannot blame the technician for such incidents happening, because everyone have got their responsibility. And usually problem starts when people are negligent in fulfilling that responsibility. But I get your point. Technicians have a role to play, and most hospitals do ensure that their staff get adequate training. And at the moment, we have even developed a short learning program on medical equipment maintenance, including issues around safety and hazard management in the hospital. And perhaps I'll share that brochure with you guys in case you know someone who might be interested in that 1 month online short learning course in the clinical engineering field. But thanks for that contribution. And I wish our nurses and doctors are part of this presentation and discussion we're having, so that they know their duties as well in terms of ensuring that their colleagues get adequate training on the use of these devices before they start using them on patients.
Just a few examples. Here's another one similar to what Neo has just described, right? So that's a terrible burn. Imagine if this is your child or your sister or something. And these are the kind of things that lead to litigation where the Department of Health is sued and they have to pay a lot of money because of this kind of adverse events. Okay. So here's another one involving non-invasive BP system where there's a misconnection that seemed right, which now lead to an embolism death. So when you mix things like that, you could really create problems for the patient. Here's another one involving an ECG cable. Misconnection resulting in electrocution. Yeah, that's a big one. Okay. One of the reasons why this kind of mistakes happen is that you have complex environments with different machines, different connectors, different wires, different this and that, everything mixed up. And in an emergency where people are running around to save the life of the patient, especially now that we have COVID, hospitals are full, staff are stressed, some have corona themselves. People don't concentrate anymore. They start making mistakes and mixing things up. So because of this kind of complex patient user machine environment interface, mistakes do happen, incidents do happen. And yeah, unfortunately, the patient is the one that bears the brunt most of the time. So care needs to be taken. Now, there are human factors and medical device design. And to the left here, you will see all of these machines are broken, awaiting repair. There are frequent complaints. They are broke. They won't stop beeping. Why is it doing that? It means there's a design, a problem with the design of that machine. If all of them keep having similar problems, they keep breaking, you have them piling up in the workshop, then maybe it's time to think about changing the supplier and get a different manufacturer of equipment altogether. And look to the right, you have infusion pumps, almost the same, all of them broken, piled up, awaiting repairs. That's a major problem that has to do with the design of the equipment. And then there are human factors. Well, we're still talking about human factors and medical device design. Now, this one is a labeling problem. What can you notice in these devices, especially the one to the right? What can you notice? What do you think the problem is, and how can that be avoided? You're free to speak. Just go ahead and yeah.
What I see there's a button just below the top one. There's two stickers there, so I think you might be confused in terms of that information that you're seeing on the tape. Is it for the button at the top or the button in which the tape is on? Is the second one.
Okay.
And then the other thing I'm seeing as well at the bottom left, there is a sticker as well with some information. You wouldn't know whether it's for the button on your left or the down key button on the scroller there, unless if maybe that looks like an arrow. I don't know if that's an arrow or what is it.
Yeah. So this whole thing is confusing, and design of equipment should be robust and not put staff in a situation where they have to to resort to this to know what the labeling say, because the original labels have been erased or eroded or they faded, and now people use stickers, and sometimes the person who wrote the thing, you can't even read their handwriting. You won't even know what they have written there. Only they know what they've written. And especially if it's a doctor writing this, you know how they write. So all of this can create problems. You could press the wrong button, thinking you are pressing the one at the top, but the label, it's mislabeled because the original labeling has faded. So people shouldn't be in a situation where they have to do this because of poor equipment design.
So can I make a comment?
Yes, go ahead.
I think although yes, robustness of the equipment is very, very important and it cannot be overlooked. Sometimes you find that machines pile up in the workshop. because of user errors, as you mentioned before. Sometimes they do not get training, and we have this exit most of the time in public hospitals, and they call us as suppliers. You train a certain bunch of nurses, and then when you leave, then some of them move to other hospitals and have new ones coming in. So you always have to constantly do the training. And then when this tends not to happen at that frequency, then wrong buttons are pressed, so many things have been done, especially to a certain brand. And that's why you have, especially then you end up with a specific brand of equipment into the workshop because they don't know how to use it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ephraim. We will continue after a short break. Let's take about 5 minutes break, and then we will come back and continue. So the session may log out. Actually, it will not log out. We will still be in session if you want to stay on. But we'll take that 5 minutes break, and we'll continue after that.